Peace. What's the word, man? How everybody living? How everybody feeling on this wonderful Monday? It's November the 1st. Hopefully everybody is feeling good, man. I got a lot to build on today, so hopefully y'all got about an hour and some change to listen to the vent, listen to the build, man. So I'm gonna give everybody a chance to tap in with the kid before I start going off, because that's what today is gonna consist of, man. I'm tired of my people out here. We acting. It's real in the field, man. We just embracing being deaf, dumb, and blind, and I can no longer take it, man. I feel like I've tapped into just a different source of energy, man. I gotta unleash. I gotta unleash this energy. Lindell, peace, my brother. What's going on? How you living? How you feeling? What's the word, man? I gotta talk to my people, man. I gotta talk to y'all for a second. I gotta talk to y'all, man. Y'all see what I wrote in the community board about, or the community wall, whatever it's called, about Khalid Muhammad, the book that I'm reading. Which again, I recommend that book, the Book of Khalid. Malik Shabazz did his thing with that particular book, man. But that book just made me realize some things, man. Just me abandoning part of that purpose for myself, man, in regards to just waking the black people up, man. A lot of times, man, you get discouraged on this journey when you're trying to wake your people up because, again, a lot of us are deaf, dumb, and blind. As we would say, that's 85% of the population that's deaf, dumb, and blind. They lost to the true knowledge of themselves. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes that can be a discouraging journey when you feel like part of your purpose is to talk to those people that are deaf, dumb, and blind, that are lost, that don't know who they are. When you feel like that's part of your duty, man, it can be discouraging at times. It can be discouraging at times. But we got to keep it pushing. We got to keep on talking to those people that we feel like are lost. You know what I'm saying? As hard as it may get sometimes, we cannot let up. We cannot give up on these people. So I cannot give up on my people, man. I would never do that. I can't allow myself to do that. I always got to talk to my people. I got to speak life into my people. But sometimes in order to speak the life, I got to let my people know where we are going wrong. Got to do that. Airview, peace, what's happening? Magic, peace, what's the word? Tavon, peace, my brother. Definitely been a while. How you living? How you feeling? Alex, peace, what's the word? MC, peace, peace. Jeremiah, peace, what's the word? How everybody feeling, man? This wonderful November, man. It's the 1st. So again, we dealing with knowledge in regards to the math for the day. That's the foundation. Again, like y'all heard me talk about, knowledge is the foundation of everything in existence, man. You got to know in order to be and do. So we always deal with the knowledge first. That's the first part of the equation when it comes to the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You got to get the knowledge first, man. If you got something that you want to accomplish in life, you got to get the know-how, the instructions first. You got to get the formula first, the ingredients first. You know what I'm saying? How you going to whip something up in the kitchen if you don't have the ingredients? Got to have the ingredients. Got to have a recipe. Got to have a formula. That's what the knowledge is, man. That's why we say that's the foundation of everything in existence. There is no possible way that you are going to accomplish something if you don't know how to accomplish it. So always deal with that knowledge first, man. Always. Always. Just Sweet Tea, Peach Queens, what's happening? Divine, there it is. Can't complain. You know what I'm saying? Cannot complain. As they say, that won't do any good. That won't do good anyway, or do any good anyway. Anthony, peace. What's the word? What's the word? But yeah, man, my brothers and my sisters, man, I just want to know, man, when are we going to get serious about change as black people? Like, when we going to stop playing around? When we going to stop playing around? Like, when are we going to really dedicate our lives, man, to changing our condition? When are we really going to do that? When are we really going to get serious about it? A lot of times we sit around, we talk about it, we complain when certain things happen to us. You know what I'm saying? We get shot and killed by the cops. Then we want to hoop and holler. We want to protest. And then it's back to regularly scheduled programming. When you read an article about some discrimination that's going on, whether it's at a school, whether it's at a job, then we hoop and holler and we talk about how this is wrong. When it's time to select a new president, then that's when we want to start talking politically. And that's when we want to start talking about all the things that we dealing with as black people. But when all of this stuff is over, then it's back to regularly scheduled programming. It's back to falling right back into the matrix that is keeping us oppressed. So when are we going to get serious about stepping out of this matrix and remaining out of the matrix? You know what I'm saying? Because this matrix, it got a lot of us brainwashed, got a lot of us deaf, dumb, and blind, and we keep falling victim to it. Again, like I said, man, we gotta break hold of some of these Western traditions. I know it may not be comfortable at first, but we got to do it. Like Halloween yesterday. Halloween doesn't suit us. Halloween doesn't benefit us. Why are we celebrating it? But again, like I said, if I talk about it, then I'm the Grinch. And I don't know how to have fun, man. I have fun 24/7 365. When I'm reading books, when I'm studying, when I'm doing the knowledge, that's fun. I don't need a day on the calendar that was given to me by them to celebrate in order to have fun. I don't need that. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of ancestors that I can honor on a calendar and have fun on those days. We got plenty of powerful Black people that did powerful things that I can honor on the calendar and I can have fun on those days. Again, who benefits the most from these so-called holidays? It's not us. It's never us. If anything, these holidays tear us down. These holidays tear us down. You going out on Halloween, you buying all these costumes, you buying all this candy. Who is benefiting? Who is benefiting? Who benefiting? What type of corporations benefiting from it? This is the fourth quarter for a lot of businesses. They about to make all that money. They about to re-up. They about to make a ton of money. You buying all the candy. You buying all the costumes. First of all, the candy that's causing ill health in our communities. We ain't even gonna get into that though. Then you're gonna turn around and it's Thanksgiving. Another day that we should not be celebrating at all. But we're gonna go out there, we're gonna buy the turkeys, we're gonna buy all this trash food that's contributing to our decline in health. We're gonna do that. We're gonna buy all these things, we're gonna buy all the decorations and whatnot. Then you turn around, there you go, you got Christmas, another thing that people should not be celebrating. But we're gonna turn around, we're gonna celebrate it. And again, who benefits from this? Who benefits from it? Not Black people. Not Black people. When we gonna start getting serious? When are we going to start getting serious? When are we going to be ready to remove these days from the calendar and say these days don't benefit us? These days don't have anything to do with us. Let's make some days for ourselves on this calendar and let's celebrate that. When are we ready to get out of our comfort zone and do that and stop blaming these kids for your reasoning in regards to why you celebrate these days? Kids don't come out the womb saying, I want to celebrate October 31st. When you was in the womb, you knew nothing about October 31st. When you came out of the womb, you didn't know anything about a Halloween. You didn't know anything about this. These were things that were taught to you. These holidays were taught to you by adults. So adults, stop blaming the kids and say, well, the only reason we celebrate this is for the kids because they got, you know what I'm saying? It's for the kids so the kids can have fun. Stop doing that. It's you. I saw a lot of grown people dressing up. And I ain't see no kids in the background. So I saw a lot of grown people dressing up in these costumes. That's what I saw. I saw grown people going harder than the kids when it came to Halloween. But again, like I said, when I speak on it, I'm the Grinch. I'm the Grinch, I'm evil. Like I said, I have fun all the time. Again, I don't need a calendar to dictate when I have fun, to dictate when I'm going to celebrate some people, to dictate when I'm going to buy gifts for people. I don't need that. We don't need that. But if we're going to use the calendar, we got better days that we can celebrate. We got better people that we can celebrate. We got our own history that we can analyze or acknowledge on a calendar and celebrate those days. We got more to celebrate. We got to stop celebrating these days given to us by oppressors, by enemies, by people that do not like us, never have liked us. Stop celebrating their days. Sharifman, peace. CC, peace. Akuma, peace. What's happening? Oh, yeah, Tavon, that's what I was talking about. Hey, you don't care about the children. This ain't got anything to do with the children. You mean to tell me on October 31st, the only way a child can have fun is if they dress up in a costume and then go get some candy? Come on, man. Terenzo, what's happening? Mindset of an introvert. Oh, it says not to. You're right. It says not to celebrate any of them. And again, y'all already know I'm not a follower of the Bible per se. I'm not religious in that sense, but I have read the Bible. I know some exact scriptures that tell you what not to celebrate, all of that type of stuff. Oh wow, those are the main people that celebrate. Those are the main people that celebrate. The main people that are celebrating these days are the people that should not be celebrating these days, according to these books, according to scriptures and things along those lines, man. I just want to know when we gonna get serious. Anais, Justin, peace, what's happening? I just want to know when we gonna start getting serious. When we gonna start creating things for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? When we gonna start creating days to celebrate instead of waiting for them to give us permission to celebrate days. When we gonna do that? When we gonna do that? When we gonna highlight some of our ancestors that have done great things in the past and say, you know what, on this day we're gonna celebrate such and such. We ain't working for no corporate America, and we gonna do this. We gonna have a ball. We gonna eat fruits and veggies and things like that. We gonna look out for our health on this day. When are we gonna start doing that for ourselves, man? We really don't be wanting change out here. We just want to talk about it. We really not trying to be about it though. We really not trying to be about it. We want to talk about it. We want to be reactionary. We not being proactive with it. You know what I'm saying? When things, like I said, when things happen to us, that's when we want to respond and react. Oh, they shot and killed us. Protest. Oh, they discriminated against such and such at this school. Let's protest for a little minute. Let's share this article and let's express our sentiments for about a week or so. And then we're going to get back to regularly scheduled programming. That's what we're going to do. Back to slaving in these corporations and being okay with slaving in these corporations. Back to fighting over land that we don't even own. You know what I'm saying? We game banging on and we claiming territories and we don't even own the land. They own the land. And then they supplying us with the guns. They supplying us with the drugs. And then they got you thinking that it's black on black crime. They got you thinking it's black on black crime. When we gonna see who the real enemy is? When y'all ready? Let me know when y'all ready, when y'all really ready. When y'all really ready. That's what I want to know. When are we going to be really ready to acknowledge the true enemy? You know what I'm saying? Who supply? You just seen it. You know what I'm saying? You see all these so-called gang bangers or whatnot, whatever you want to call them. You see what type of guns they be holding. You see all these drugs they dealing with. They not getting them from other black people. They not getting them from other black people. Somebody is supplying them with the drugs and the guns. But then when we use the drugs and guns on each other, we say it's black on black. No, who supplied them with it? Who supplied them with it? Who took that Crip, dropped him off in a rival neighborhood? Who did that? A lot of times it's these dirty cops. But they don't want to talk about that though. They don't want to talk about it. Oh, Torenzo for sure. We already know how that go, man. Like I said, people ain't ready. People ain't ready. People ain't ready. People ain't ready. We still want to cling to these Western traditions that have nothing to do with us. And then when somebody try to introduce a new way to do things coming from the black perspective, then we want to look at them like they crazy and we don't want to get on board. We would rather cling to these Western traditions. We too comfortable. We too afraid to let go of these Western traditions. Why? Because we afraid of how people gonna judge us. You know what I'm saying? When you're not celebrating these days, you're afraid of how people gonna judge you. Oh, how you gonna take the fun away from your kid? Man, it's got to start somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere it's got to start where we got to stop clinging to these Western traditions. Xavier, COINTELPRO, you already know. But again, mention COINTELPRO, people don't want to have that discussion. Like I said, they got whole files. They got whole files on the kids out here. I wish I had my book. I wish I had my book on Dr. Khaled, man. They talked about the FBI files that they had on that man. They talked about the FBI files in that book that they had on Khalid Muhammad. Man, I'm telling you, when you tapped in, when you start mentioning keywords and code words, they collecting data on you. They collecting that data on you, man. They got you in the fight. They are gathering all the evidence. They trying to use everything and anything against you. Once you tap in, once they see that you are a person of influence, once they see that you're a black person with your head on straight, then they're like, hold on, man, we got to put them in the system. We got to collect that information, that intel on them. They create that file. And everything that you do that they feel like is a threat and they feel like it's something that they could twist and use against you is going in that file. It's going in that file. It's going in that file, man. It's going in the file. That's the COINTELPRO. But people want to swear up and down that this type of stuff don't exist. Guaranteed they keeping information. They keeping intel on people who don't want to get the jab. You a black person, you not striving to get the jab. You ain't jabbed up. Best believe they know this. Best believe they keeping records. Best believe they know all the black people that have not gotten the jab. They keeping taps, man. We going into a database, man. They know. They say, okay, these black people ain't getting this jab. We got to watch them. Best believe it. And if you think otherwise, then you can continue to choose to remain deaf, dumb, and blind, lost, whatever the case may be, asleep, however you want to phrase it. But best believe they putting all the people in the file that's choosing to not get the jab. Best believe, man, they are putting you in that database, man. They putting you in that database, man. They watch you. You already know it. Back in the day when you used to be on Facebook, when the knowledge first came out about the keywords, when you mentioned keywords on like your status or whatnot, man, that triggered their system. So when you mentioned keywords and it triggered their system, then they tapped into your page. And if they felt like the page was threatening, they put you on a list. They put you on a list. They put you on a list, and the list was color coded. It was like red, green, and like black. I think it was like 3 different lists. But if you mentioned keywords, back at the time, keywords could be like government, Illuminati, conspiracy, some along those lines, man. Whatever the keyword was, if you mentioned the keyword, then they put you on a list. They put you on the list. Depending on how crazy the page was to them, that was how they would put you. That's the color that they would put you in. So like if you was red, if you was on the red list, then that means, man, your page, I think the red list was your page was dropping a lot of information. And they feel like that you was definitely a threat to the system. I forgot how the colors, I forgot how it went. I think red was like at the top. I can't remember. I can't remember. I think red was at the top. And I think next might have been black, and then I think it may have been green. I can't really remember, but I think red was the worst one. If you was on red, they was really watching. They was really watching. FS, peace, what's happening? What's the word? CC, for sure. It ain't safe. Ain't safe at all. Ain't safe at all. Yeah, Justin, man, they didn't call us everything. Black supremacists, black identity extremists. Man, they didn't call you everything, man. They didn't call us everything. You know what I'm saying? Like when they orchestrated 9/11. You know what I'm saying? When they orchestrated 9/11, then that just gave them more leeway to come after black people that was speaking that black consciousness, because anything that went against the government, like you was able to get penalized for it. You know what I'm saying? The Patriot Act and things along those lines. So they orchestrated 9/11. They orchestrated it. They created that mass hysteria. They created the fear, and then they wanted to make it look like they was coming to save the day. So they was trying to create that culture of patriotism. So anybody at that time that was speaking out against the government, considering what we just went through as a country, as a nation, it was like, nah, this person is anti-government, lock him up, put tabs on him, all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So they orchestrated that, which they had a role in it, had everybody thinking that it was the Muslims, had everybody hating everybody from the Middle East. Whole while they orchestrated the nonsense, but we not analyzing that. We wasn't doing the knowledge to that. Then when you got people that was coming out speaking on that, speaking about that, then they got put on that list. They got put on that list. They got put, just like this whole situation now. They got you thinking that this whole situation popped off from the Chinese brought it over here. It's a lie. It's nonsense. And if you want to believe that, then you could be my guest. Be my guest. If you want to believe that Chinese people brought this joint over here, be my guest. But that's foolish. If you don't think that this mug was manufactured, I mean, they got documented evidence of them manufacturing things along these lines, man. If you look up HIV and Hillary Kaprowski, if you look up that name associated with HIV, you're going to see how they manufacture these joints. You're going to see how these things are manufactured in labs and then released on certain populations. And then those certain populations are blamed for bringing the disease to a certain place, to a certain population. That's how they do it. That's how they do it. That's how they do it. Mine said it ain't no such thing as a black supremacist at all. You know what I'm saying? At all. At all, according to their language. But that's how they do it, though. They make it in the lab. They want to say, oh, the Chinese brought it over here. No, they didn't. Y'all brought it over here. Want to blame it on the Chinese, man. All that friction that we was already having with the Chinese, and now you want to say that they brought some over here. No, they did not. No, they did not. You all did. You manufactured it, and we know you manufactured it. But again, they got people. We don't want to question old government. We don't want to question old big brother. We don't want to question old powers that be. We don't want to question old alphabet joints, CIA, FBI, all that stuff, DEA, all that. We don't want to question. We don't want to question them. We don't want to question. They tell us something, then it's right and exact. We ain't questioning them. We treat them like a religion. We ain't They told us don't question that religion. We ain't questioning our government. We ain't questioning. We afraid to question that government. We afraid of what they may do to us if we ask questions. We afraid. We afraid as black people, man. All the experiments that they done conducted on us, we done been used as guinea pigs for how many years, and we still trusted them. We still let our guards down, and we trust them easily. Asking a very minimal amount of questions, like a small amount of questions. We let our guards down. We trust them too easily. It's just naive and gullible, man. But we talk about reparations and wanting to change and all this, man. We ain't serious. We ain't serious. Savon, believe it 100%. And it's crazy. That's why I say we got a long way to go. We got a long way to go. People talk about progress, man. We got a long way to go as black people, man. We literally still trust this government. We literally still trust the government. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't told you. You know what I'm saying? And this is another thing a lot of people talk about. They hear you talk about black people and the condition in America, and then they start saying crazy things like go back to Africa, stupid stuff like that. Then they start comparing over here to other places and say, well, we got it. America is the best place to be. We got it good in America. If you compare us to other countries and how they live in, then we should be thankful. We should be grateful. See, that's the illusion that they have played on us here in America. That's the illusion they have played on us. In other countries, it's more overt. You know what I'm saying? You see how they being treated. It's more overt. Like, okay, yeah, they enslaved over here. Like they getting treated like straight slaves, straight peons. That's how they getting treated. We see it. In America, it's totally different because here people actually think that they have freedom. People actually think that this is a safe place to live. People actually think that this is a good place to live. That's how they got us. That's how they got us. That's how they are able to enslave us psychologically because we don't even think it's that bad over here. That's how they have gotten us because everything is covert. And they knew this. They knew this. That's why they designed it as such. They can't allow it to be overt. They didn't already did us that way for so long. They had to change the game up on us. They had to make it more covert, underground with the enslavement. And that's what they have done. So we think in America, oh man, we should be blessed because we're here in America. Listen, just because things are not overt don't mean that it's not bad. Don't mean that it's not as bad. Like, I mean, they can literally get us to do whatever it is that they want. That's how bad we are. That's how bad off we are psychologically. They can literally get us to do whatever it is that they want. They literally, I mean, literally, man, we would sign up for our destruction. We assigned our name on a dotted line. You know what I'm saying? We would agree to walk right into a chamber where they're going to kill us. We'll agree to walk right into that gas chamber. We'll sign up. All right, cool. I'll walk into that gas chamber. I'll walk right into the gas chamber. Let me sign my name on this dotted line. We walking right into a gas chamber. 80, 90% of us will sign up for it. We gonna sign up for it. We gonna sign up for it. And somebody asked me what I think about hold on. Somebody asked me a question. I want Black Nitro. You say, how do you feel about voting Democrat? I don't fool with voting Democrat. I don't fool with voting Republican. I don't fool with half the time voting for independent party. I don't fool with any of that, man, because at the end of the day, it's all back. Listen, it's all, I think, what is it? M1 for Dead Prez. He made a rhyme on the Deaf Poetry Jam, man. I don't want to mess it up. I think, what do you say? Crack is like a Democrat, Coke is like Republican, independent party. Something, man. I can't even, man. Y'all gotta look that up, man. A little Deaf Poetry Jam, man, with Dead Prez, man. M1 broke it down in a rhyme, man, but it's pretty much all one and the same thing in my eyes. I don't feel like anything is gonna change from this system. Like, this system was designed not with our best interests at heart. So there is no way that we are going to get this system to change to benefit us, because it never, like, the foundation of this system had nothing to do with the liberation of our people, with the advancement of our people. So the only way that we're going to get this advancement and liberation is if we literally create our own system. So I don't feel like the way to liberate ourselves, to advance, to free ourselves is to try to infiltrate their system. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So that's why I don't care about vote, because at the end of the day, it's going to be a money grab. You know what I'm saying? These Democrats, these Republicans, they are going to push the interests of the people that back them financially. Who has the money? We can't come together to agree upon anything, let alone putting our money behind somebody. We're not going to do that. All we're going to do is use that vocal support. Oh, vote for Biden, vote for this, vote for Obama. We're not going to put money behind anybody, though, collectively, because we can't agree on anything. All we gonna give them is that vocal moral support. That's it. But when it comes to putting money behind somebody so that they can support our interests, we can't agree on anything. That's the only way that we really gonna receive any type of change, putting our money behind somebody. And until we willing to do that, we might as well, we can cancel Christmas on somebody coming into office, being selected and fighting for black people. No, they are going to fight for the people that put the money behind them. And who is putting the money behind them? These other groups, the LGBTQ community, white folks, these other groups. They are the ones that come together and they put their money behind somebody and say, look, we got this interest that we need you to protect. Here go a check for 1.5 million. Support our interests. Look out for us. They put money behind them. Claude Anderson got a book called Powernomics. He talks about that. He talks about it. I don't fool with any of them though. I ain't no Democrat, I ain't no Republican, I ain't none of that. It's all the same things. They all gangs out here, same gangs, man. It's wrestling. Like I said, wrestling. When you watch wrestling, when they on camera, it look like they enemies. When the camera's off, these wrestlers that was just trying to kill each other on camera, they best of friends. That's how it is with politics. You know what I'm saying? When it's time to debate, it's looking like they all enemies out here. But all these people, man, like Joe Biden, them, Donald Trump, they all cool. You know what I'm saying? When the camera's off, they the best of friends. They shaking hands, all this type of good stuff, man. But we fall for the illusion. We fall for the trick. We fall for the illusion. We fall for the trick. But when it comes down to the moral support, the vocal support, we are the wild cards. They're always trying to get the so-called black vote, meaning they just want to get the black support because, again, we're not putting our money behind anybody. But then when Ice Cube was talking about doing that, sitting down with Trump, we wanted to criticize Cube. Q was actually trying to game plan. He was trying to strategize. So he was like, Q was like, look, if we got to play y'all game, then we should at least benefit from something. So that's why he was trying to sit down with Trump. Like, man, look, what is your plan for black people? What is your plan? What is your plan? What is your plan for black people, man? Cube had an idea. Like, listen, man, if we got to choose the lesser of two evils, then we should at least get some type of benefit. Some type of benefit from it, man. But the only way you're going to get that benefit is money, man. Money talks, man. They speak the language of money. They don't speak the language of, I support Joe. I support Kamala. Like, they don't speak that. They don't speak that. Hence why they not doing anything for us. The wife is in the building. Y'all say peace to the wife and shout out to the donation. Shout out for the donation and whatnot. Mindset of an introvert. You already know. But the voting thing, I don't do the voting. And I would never do the voting. And it's crazy. When the voting, when that comes up, that's when I realize again how little progress we have made. Because people start literally calling you ignorant and all this type of stuff because you're not out here voting. Voting for what? Literally every 4 years, it's the same old song and dance. When have our lives drastically changed because of voting? Somebody please when has my life drastically changed because of voting? Marcus, my brother, appreciate the donation. Somebody got to answer that question for me, man. Somebody got to answer that question. When has my life drastically changed because of voting? Literally, man. Most of the things they have us vote for is strictly an illusion. They just want you to feel like you have a voice. That's what voting is. You know what I'm saying? Instead of them, again, that's part of being covert. That's part of being covert. They got to make it look like you have a decision. Make it look like you have some input. Wow, whoever it is that is selected, first of all, the person was already selected. You know what I'm saying? So they already know how this is going to go. They just want to make you feel like you have a voice, have a say-so. Because if they didn't, then it'll be a lot of backlash. It'll be uprisings, and they don't got time for that. So they want to make it look like we have a voice. That's the illusion. Wow, they're going to select the person that's going to carry out their agenda. The person that is selected is still carrying out their agenda, but they want to make you look like you have a voice to satisfy you, to please you. And even when you think you got a voice, they have still demonstrated over the years that you don't have a voice, but we overlook them. George Bush, boom. I remember it clear as day. What was that, 2000, when he was going against Al Gore? I don't know many people that was really voting for George Bush at that time. I remember we held mock votes in my school at the time. Man, nobody voted for George Bush. Nobody. And then what they do in Florida to the vote for them, they threw their votes out that joint. Votes didn't count. Votes didn't count. So even when you think you got a voice, they gonna rig it. They gonna rig it. They gonna say, oh, you know what? Y'all done messed around and selected the person that we did not want to be in here. Let's rig it. Let's throw some votes out. Let's tell them they votes don't matter. They votes don't count. They did that right in our faces, man. They rigged that selection process right in our faces, and we still fool with them. There is no way George Bush should have been president twice if y'all votes really mattered. There's no way that George Bush should have had 2 terms of being a president. As wicked as George Bush was, there's no reason that man should have been president for 2 terms if y'all votes really mattered, if voting really mattered, if voting really counted. No way. No way. You know what I'm saying? But again, when you bring this type of stuff up, you ignorant, you stupid. Man, we got plenty of presidents that just shouldn't have saw the time of day. You know what I'm saying? With they ignorant. George Bush pops already let you know how wicked the Bush family was, and then his son comes out some years later and is president for 2 terms. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. Like I'm telling y'all, man, I forgot what grade I was in, man, but I remember it clear as day. I was like, dang, Al Gore got this. Every time you talk to somebody, they was talking about Al Gore, Al Gore, Al Gore, Al Gore, and he still lost. Come on. Come on, man. But again, when you talk this, and then like I said, black people get in their feelings when I talk about Obama. They get in their feelings when I always will talk about Obama. I remember that because that's when I first became eligible to vote. And people was like, are you voting? I was like, no. They were like, what? You ain't gonna vote for Obama? Why? What is he about to do? He's a puppet. The president is a puppet. Just like you have a sports team, you have a mascot. That is what the president is, the mascot. You know what I'm saying? They put the battery in his back. They tell him what to say. Presidents don't even write their own speeches. You know what I'm saying? So it's somebody that's writing a speech for him. So they literally telling the president what to say. The president don't have no power, don't have no control. He's not even able to write his own speeches. Those are written for him. So he got to say what it is they want him to say. I'm like, what am I voting for? What am I voting for him for? I'm like, the only reason y'all fooling with this brother is because he's black and y'all don't know anything about this dude. Y'all don't know anything about this dude. He ain't about to do anything for us because he can't. The system is not going to allow him to do that. And that's what's crazy. When I was saying that back then, people was like, oh man, that you ignorant, you this, that, and the third. But guess what? Guess what? When Obama was in office, right? And things were not changing. I remember it clear as day. I remember this clear as day. When Obama got selected and things were not changing, I was calling it out. I was like, man, Obama done been in office. Like, what? He ain't doing anything. Guess what people told me? Guess what people told me? People were telling me, because who mess did he have to clean up, right? Clean up. Whose mess did he have to clean up? George Bush, right? So this is what people told me. The same people that was just telling, the same people that I was just saying that the president has no power. He's a mascot. He's a puppet. The same people that I was just telling that to, when they saw that Obama wasn't really getting anything done, this is what they told me. They were saying, well, we can't expect him to clean up this mess in 4 years. He don't have the power to do X, Y, and Z. Oh, but when I said that initially, I was ignorant. Now, when it actually is manifesting, now y'all want to acknowledge what I was saying was the truth. But y'all want to blame it on George Bush, though. Y'all want to say, well, he can't clean up that mess in 4 years. That the mess George Bush left, how is he supposed to clean it up in 4 years? So now 4 years ain't enough time now. So now y'all really realizing that the president really don't have much power because he only got 4 years to clean up a mess, so to speak. But that was the argument at the time. That's what people was telling me, even though I just told him that. I said, man, he's not going to be able to do nothing. Y'all expecting this black man to come up in here and to be y'all savior. First of all, we need to stop looking for presidents in the government to be that savior, because they will never be that. You know what I'm saying? But we was looking at Obama thinking that, oh, he's about to be a savior. Talking about, oh man, this is history in the making. Now I can tell my son he can see that he can be president. Why would you want your son to be president? Why would you want your son to be president if your son stands for anything that's righteous for black people? Seeing him be president is like a death sentence. If your black child got any ounce of black consciousness in him or her, and they become president and they try to push that agenda, they not gonna last long. So why would you want to see that? Being a president ain't no like. Listen, that ain't nothing that I want to aim. That I want to tell my child to aim to be. Oh, you could be president of the United States. No, that's not something I'm telling them to aim for. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. You the president of a corrupt organization. No, a corrupt corporation, because the United States is a corporation. So you are the president of a corrupt corporation. I don't want you to be that. When I know that you're not gonna have a voice, when I know that they're gonna be telling you what to say and do, I don't want to tell my child. Like I'm striving to tell my child to be free, to be liberated, not to be a puppet, not to be controlled, which is what a president is. You don't have power as a president. You think you have power. You think you would have power, but you don't. You don't. Thunder Peace, what's happening? Yeah, Justin, that's what it, and that's all I told people. I said Obama and them, the family is cool, they cool peoples. But as far as the president and the politics, I don't care anything about it. It wasn't even that I disliked Obama. It was that I understood dude wasn't really finna do anything because he couldn't. You know what I'm saying? As far as his personality, cool brothers. Just on the surface. I mean, I don't know him, but the family appeared to be cool as a family. But I just understood the political game. I was like, the only reason that they gave us a black man, the only reason that they gave us Obama is because they gave us Bush twice, and they wasn't supposed, like they knew that made us unhappy. Bush was not supposed, listen, black people, we did not fool with George Bush. We did not fool with George Bush. For the life of me, when people think all this racism and all this type of stuff started existing because of Trump, I'm like, what world are y'all living in? This stuff was happening when Bush was in office, because Bush is Donald Trump's brother, so to speak. Man, they the same person to me. They the same person. So all this stuff was popping off when Bush was in office, and of course before Bush. But I'm saying when Bush was in office, man, Bush didn't like black people. Bush did not like black. So I don't know what people were talking about. Oh man, when Trump got in office, all the racists came out. What was Bush? What? Somebody tell me when did George Bush and his family start liking black people? Somebody please let me know when George Bush became less racist than Donald Trump. Somebody let me know. Somebody let me know, because last time I checked, George Bush and his whole entire family did not like black people. And as much as I don't care for Kanye said that. But like I said, the only reason why they gave you Obama because they gave us Bush twice, and they knew that we were not happy with that. That was not really supposed to happen if everything was legit and votes counted. Bush was not supposed to be in there twice, but they had to have Bush in there twice to carry out the agenda that they wanted carried out. So they was like, okay, we got to shut these black people up. We can't give them another corrupt white dude. We finna have to give them a black person. We got to make history, because we gave them, we had our person in there for 2 turns. Now we got to give him Obama, and that's going to pacify him. That's going to shut him up for a minute. Then when we shut him up for a minute, then we going to hit him with another whammy. Give him Trump. Give him Trump. Shayna, for sure. Listen, when Obama had first got in office, the first thing that they started doing was bombing African countries. So they started bombing Africans as soon as Obama was selected. Start bombing Africans. Like, that's a fact. You look that up. Start bombing Africans. As soon as Obama got selected, let's go bomb Africans. Let's go bomb black people. That's what they was on as soon as Obama was in that joint. Let's just go bomb black people. Let's do it. Let's do it. That's what we gonna be on when we select this black man. We finna pacify the black people here in America, then we just gonna go bomb Africans. That's how we gonna rock. Like, that's literally what they started doing. But we were satisfied. We was happy. Oh man, they're going, a black man is the president. Black man's the president. Now you can tell, we can tell our sons they can become president of the United States. Like, that's something to be. Like, that's something to be. Badge of honor to be the president of the United States. Man, ain't nothing. You ain't got no power, man. And if you say anything that benefits your people, you getting assassinated. Justin, oh man, words I never said. I rapped over that beat. Man, I'm telling y'all, I felt that song. I felt that song so hard, man. When Lupe was out at that time speaking out on this joint, man, I rapped over that beat. Words I never said, man. I did a whole song revolving around that, man. Lupe said he a part of the problem. The problem is he's peaceful. Man, people want to understand. Lupe was ahead of his time at that particular point, man. Lupe was coming out with some very unpopular opinions, man. and he was putting it in the music. I really was rocking with Lupe at that time, man, because he was letting you know, I ain't vote for Obama, man. The second one either. I'm a part of the problem. The problem is I'm peaceful. Man, Lupe was on it, man. Lupe was on it. Lupe was on it. Yeah, Shannon, that's all. That's all. That's literally all he did. Like literally, it's literally all he did. And I keep asking black people. I ask this every time. Every time that black people get satisfied with a person that's in office, I ask black people this individually. I said, how has your life drastically improved since Joe Biden became president? Even when Obama was, I was like, how has your life drastically improved? When Obama was selected, how did your life drastically improve from George Bush to Obama? And a lot of people could not answer that question. It's like you working at the same job, you making about the same type of money, you living in the same type of crib, you paying about the same thing for gas. Now you may have a period of time where the gas prices then skyrocketed. Then it goes back down, things along those lines, but you are essentially living the same type of life. Same type of life. So stop acting like your life is drastically improving when you get somebody that you like on the surface as president. Your life is not drastically improving. It's not happening. In many instances, your life is actually becoming worse. But you don't want to talk about that though, because then you want to blame it on the president that was before him. So then when Obama was, see, it was crazy. When Obama was doing things that was making life harder on us, they was like, oh, that's George Bush mess. That's George Bush that left from that mess. Same with Joe now. They just blame Donald Trump still. Oh, that's that mess Donald Trump left behind. That's the world we live in as black people. That's the life we live in as black people. But again, I keep asking, when are we going to get serious about change? I'm getting tired of trying to educate my people. You know what I'm saying? It gets tiring. It gets draining. Man, I be trying to refer books to my people. Like, man, we need to read this. Like Claude Anderson, man. I used to be that dude, man, with the books. I done loaned out plenty of books that I have not gotten back. And people have not even read the books that I loaned them. It's like, man, we got to start thoroughly doing the knowledge out here, man. That is one of the ways that they are getting one up on us. They put a lot of the information, they put a lot of the strategies in these books. We have got to start reading. We can no longer rely on YouTube and Google. YouTube and Google have been compromised. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of money on the line in regards to Google. When you are on Google, like the first page, when you look up something, 90% of the content you see on the first page, corporations have paid to be on that first page. Google has been compromised. So you can trust very little on Google these days because they have done a good job of eliminating the proper information, the truth. Instead, they got the people that's willing to pay to be on the first page. So again, listen to what I'm saying. Google, people pay to be on the first page. You know what I'm saying? Google AdWords. It's called SEO, search engine optimization. Like you can pay to be on these pages. Just because people are on the first pages don't mean that they are speaking the truth. That means they just have more money than the next organization. So if you don't have the money, then you're not going to make it to that front page on Google. So it's all about money. It's all about who has the funds to pay for that position. So again, we see things on that first page on Google and we think that it's true. No, that just means that corporation, they had the money. They had the money to equip them with the tools necessary to get them on the first page of Google. It's marketing. I know how marketing works 100%. So Google, YouTube have been compromised. It's a lot of pieces of information that they won't allow to make it to the first pages on Google. And then it's a lot of information that they won't even allow to surface on YouTube. You got to speak in code. So you got to dig deep to find a lot of this information. You didn't used to have to do that. Even though things were regulated back in the day, you were still able to find this information rather quickly. Now you got to dig deep. So the best thing, your best bet these days is to just start reading because there's still a lot of books out here that's available, but they going to make the books available because they know we lazy when it comes to that. We not going to read that book, but we'll watch some on YouTube or we'll Google it and we'll read that little article real quick. But we're not going to read a 300, 400 page book. So they allow a lot of these books to remain on the surface because they know that we're not reading. Again, y'all know the old cliche quote, if you want to hide something from a black person, put it in a book. So they got a lot of books out here that if we just read these books, then we gonna come like, listen, all the answers are out here. We just gotta read and we gotta implement. But we not reading though. We not reading. Lee, and it's not necessarily like, again, it's definitely a lack of discipline and basic self-respect, but I would say it's a lack of balanced information. Prime example, when it comes to the jab, if you just got all your information about the jab from YouTube and Google, you may come across thinking that it's a-okay to get the jab because that's the only information that they are allowing for people to see on Google and YouTube and things like that. So if you speak in opposition of the jab and they get a hold of it, then they about to remove your content, they about to give you a strike, they about to delete you, ban you, all that type of stuff. So they are doing a good job of regulating the information. So they controlling the media. Now, if they control what you see, they control how you think. So it's like we got to do a lot of digging to find the proper information because the proper information is not easily accessible as it used to be online, that is. So now to get a lot of this information, we got to go right to the books now. Because again, you cannot trust this stuff that's online because it's been compromised. Man. It's been compromised. I know y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about YouTube used to have a lot of powerful documentaries and speeches, lectures, things like that. And you literally cannot find those lectures and documentaries these days on YouTube. YouTube used to have a lot more when it comes to like just revolutionary speeches and lectures and documentaries. Nope. Nope. Hard to find a lot of this stuff now. Ernest, appreciate that donation. Yeah, Duck Duck. I've heard about Duck Duck. Definitely don't want to keep using Google. And Lee, you say I think very few are getting bad information because they really could care less about what is going on. Oh yeah. Now when it comes to that, when it comes to rather being entertained for show, they don't care about the information at that point. But I'm saying when they do care about the information, it's easy for them to be misled. So when you get a person that actually does care about the information, they just don't know how to go about it. If they leave it up to Google and YouTube and all of these things to get informed, then it'll be easy for them to be misled. It's like in my line of work as a trainer, when people start studying how to lose weight. Well, if you just leave it up to Google, Google gonna have you thinking that you got to go on a keto diet. That might be the first few articles that come up. All right, if you want to lose weight, go keto, keto this, keto that. No, that's incorrect. But if you just searching on Google, that's what Google will have you thinking that you have to do. You will have to go keto. Like there ain't no other way to lose weight in a healthy manner. You know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna be all pro keto articles that come up. And that's a person that like they are concerned about their weight, concerned about losing weight. They just don't know how to, you know what I'm saying, decipher the right from wrong information in regards to the formula to lose weight. So they get on these search engines and boom, as soon as they type in weight loss, here goes keto. Hence why everybody think that they gonna go on keto. And oh wow, that's like the worst thing you can do for your health. Oh yeah, Shayna, man, I'm telling you, they have removed they didn't remove like 3 of my videos when talking about the jab and all that. They removed legit 3 of my videos. Like legit. And I know they probably gonna end up removing more because the last video that they removed, I made that video months ago. So it's like they going through the archives and they just removing the videos once, like I said, once they get wind of what you're talking about. They literally removed the old video that I did, like randomly. Like that video was old. I'm like, whoa, I forgot I did that video, and they removed that joint. And I remember the vitamin C connection because I talked about it. I don't even know if that video is still up, but I talked about the vitamin C as treatment. I mean, listen, vitamin C, I talked about the vitamin D connection and all that type of stuff, man. I talked about all of it. And they removed like a good 2 or 3 of my videos. Good 2 or 3 of them. Oh yeah, just for sure, man. Like I said, man, just from my experience, like these books be having some top jewels, man. Because I done found things in books that I can't, you can barely find it online because of the way that they didn't, you know what I'm saying? They didn't control everything, man. They didn't regulated the internet, they didn't regulated the information. So it's like I read a book and you try to look it up, and it's like, man, it's hard to find it. Hard to find this information. Like I said, when I was talking about polio, and a lot of people say, a lot of people that's pro jab, they use that as proof that the jabs work, the disappearance of polio. Well, when you further dive into that situation, you come to understand that a lot was corrupted, fabricated, and manipulated, and polio didn't really even disappear. What happens is they change the criteria. So what once, like the symptoms that once enabled you to be classified as having polio, they changed the game. So now those same symptoms would classify you as having something else. So that's what they did. They changed the names. They created a multitude of other diseases and conditions. And so the same symptoms that was considered polio back then, they consider something else these days. So they made it appear as if polio disappeared, but it really did not. They just call they call them by different names. So again, when you Google polio right now, polio, they'll tell you it's less than 1,000 cases per year. And they will tell you that it's preventable by a jab. That is a lie. Like there are other symptoms that used to get classified or used to have one classified as polio that now is classified as other things, like 5 or 6 other conditions. That these symptoms that used to get one classified as polio, now they get classified as X, Y, and Z. I forgot the names, man. I got them in a book, but I forgot the names. So once I get the book, I will let you know the name. But that's what they do. They change the criteria. They changed the criteria. They did this with polio. So polio did not disappear. They just changed the criteria. And they gave you other diseases and conditions so they can spread out the number, so they can make it look like now not everybody has polio. They got all of this other stuff. So they can give credit to the jab so that you can now put your trust into them. That is how they play the game. You got to understand the game, though. You got to understand the game. We don't understand that game. We don't understand the thing. We think polio disappeared because they created this jab. So now we trust the jab. That's not what happened. That's not what happened, man. They fabricated, corrupted, manipulated numbers, manipulated whole disease. They created whole new diseases and conditions for you. That's what they did. That is what they did. That's literally what they did, man. We gotta stop playing around, man. Man, what you say, Justin? You say, what's the book for today, man? Let me see, man. I got like a box filled with books right here, man. Let me see if I can pull up something, man, that's out the gate. Cause I'm reading that book of Khaled right now. So I'm gonna see. Let me see if I got a powerful joint right here, man, that I could just pull up, man. I don't know. I got a whole book of books, man. I got books everywhere, man. I'm the book man when it comes to the books, man. Let me see if I can find a book that I have yet to just recommend, which I'm sure I can. Let me see. I'm gonna go with an old school book. I'm gonna go with an old school joint by one of the goats here. This is a good book right here. How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. Walter Rodney. R.I.P. to Walter Rodney, man. But how Europe, y'all see the book, How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. Grab that joint. This would be the book of the day, man. Walter Rodney. How Europe Underdeveloped Africa by Walter Rodney. Grab that book. Powerful book, man. Old school joint, old school classic. Grab that book. How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. Oh, yeah, Shane. Medical Apartheid, one of my favorite books, man. I read that book some years ago. I got that book in here somewhere. But I read that book like about 10 plus years ago. That's definitely a powerful book. Definitely. Nutricide is another good book. But yeah, Medical Apartheid. I mean, that should be required reading for Black people. You know what I'm saying? Like certain books should just be required reading for Black people in general. Medical Apartheid is one of those books. Medical Apartheid is one of those books that should be required reading for Black people. Like if you are a Black person, before you start trusting the medical industry, these medical institutions, you need to read Medical Apartheid. I mean, it's just required. So you can know what's really going on. Then I got a book called Bad Blood that talks about the Tuskegee experiment. That's also recommended reading. Like, we should study what has happened to us via this system. That is important to know. That's important to understand. So that's why these books are very important. These books are very important. Require reading. Like, we be going to these schools, reading all these books that they recommend us to read. Man, I was in school reading things like Of Mice and Men. Like, this stuff ain't had anything to do with nothing that was black. You know what I'm saying? So I wasted a lot of my years reading books that ain't have anything to do with anything black, man. We got to change the reading curriculum. You know what I'm saying? When that child gets of age, man, they should be slapped with the autobiography of Malcolm X instantly. Medical Apartheid, when they get up in high school, that should be read. Like, all of these books, How Europe Underdeveloped Africa, like, that's something that should be read. Black Man of the Nile, that's something that should be read. All of these books, man, The Blueprint to Black Power, man, all these books are important. All of these books are important, man. Study the great ancestor, John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben, Leonard Jeffries, all of these individuals, man. Like I said, Khalid Muhammad, Malcolm X, Black Panther Party. We should be studying all of these people, man. Stokely Carmichael, man. We should be studying all of them. H. Rap Brown. Like, these are important people. Medgar Evers, man. A lot of people sleep on Medgar Evers, man, and his whole situation, man. R.I.P. to Medgar Evers, man, and how he went down. They should study the story of Emmett Till. Like, all of this stuff is important. Amadou Diallo, like, we should study all of these things, man. All the things that have happened to us, we should be studying them. When We Ruled by Robin Walker, another good book, 700-page joint, required reading. We got to stop wasting the minds of these children by having them reading these mindless books. They got to read things that are important to the culture. They got to read things that are important to self. They got to read these type of books, man. We letting the school system is wasting their mind. And then we try to overload their mind by giving them the black books on top of the nonsense white books that they got to read. No, man, again, we got to control the minds of these. We got to control what they consume. Like I said, homeschooling, starting our own schools, starting our own institutions. It's becoming easier because we are able to do things virtually. So we got to start working that magic, man. So we can control what goes into the mind of that black child instead of allowing them to do it. And then we trying to just neutralize it. Man, it's overload. They didn't have to spend 7 and 8 hours in this white institution reading all these trash books. Man, they drain. It's hard for them to spend an hour or two reading this book that you've given them. That's 700, 800 pages. You know what I'm saying? So we got to do better in regards to controlling the environment that our children learn in. So we got to work better to create these schools, creating situations to where we able to teach them 7 to 8 hours out the day instead of allowing the oppressor and the enemy to do it. Oh yeah, Justin, that is also a good book. Medicine, yes, that's also a good one. Shane, I'm telling you, well, I was in college taking a philosophy class, and I am telling you, all we read about were Greek philosophers at that time. And listen, I was so good in that class, my philosophy professor pulled me to the side and was like, man, you need to think about adding philosophy as your major, because I was asking the right questions. I wasn't afraid to ask questions. I'm like, dude, we studying all these white folks, but who taught them? We already know where they got their information from. We already know where Socrates, where Plato, Hippocrates, Pythagoras, we already know where they got their information from. We know, but they not teaching it though. They seem to keep that part hidden. All of a sudden, these dudes just became wise overnight, it looks like. No, they were educated. They were educated by people who look like us. They walked over to Egypt. Man, you got plenty of people. Man, The Ruins of Empire. That's another good book that lets you know like how we was rocking back in the day. Ruins of Empire. Get that joint. It's a good book. It'll let you know some truth. Drop some jewels on your ancestors. Drop some jewels on your people. You know what I'm saying? Hey, The Destruction of Black Civilization. But that's a classic that everybody heard of. Chancellor Williams. Mr. Seven. I did horrible in high school. Horrible. I was an honor roll student all the way until I got into high school because it was something about what I was learning that did not sit well with me. Like, things were not resonating with me. I'm like, man, this ain't, like, I'm not feeling what's being taught, man. So I did not do good at all. I did great in college because I understood that it was a game at that point. I understood it. I was like, man, I'm just gonna pimp the system. So I understood how to take their tests, how to pass their tests and things like that. But in high school, I couldn't relate to this information. I just felt like something was off. I'm like, man, this stuff ain't making sense. Like, this don't feel right. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't do good at all because I didn't care about what I was being taught. Like, I just didn't feel like it didn't make sense. I felt like it was wrong half the time. I just ain't like it. I was kind of going against the grain in regards to what was being taught. Oh yeah, Kuma, man. Shout out to your guidance counselor on that. Shout out to her. But again, we gotta do a much better job, man, of controlling the information that our children consume. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about, man, I wasted a lot of time just reading a bunch of nonsense, man, that again ain't have anything to do with the culture. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you could read for recreation, read for fun and whatnot, man, but we gotta prioritize studying our culture, studying our people. We gotta prioritize that. That's the priority. Like I said, I was reading a bunch of nonsense. I forgot how we was watching Grease, like that little movie of mice and men, all that type of stuff, man, was trash. Trash, man. Trash. That it don't benefit us learning about that. Yeah, Lee, and you're not gonna hear it because again, like I said, we're not serious. We not serious about change. Like I said, we want to listen, beat around the bush. We afraid to make drastic changes. We afraid to make drastic changes as black people. We afraid to go against the grain. We afraid of how we're gonna be perceived. We afraid of the energy that may come our way. We afraid of they didn't instill that fear in us. Like, oh, if you go against the grain, if you go against the system, this is what's gonna happen to you and your family. We have accepted that. We have accepted that fear. And we allow that fear to control us and dictate how we move. So again, that's why I continue to say we ain't really serious. You know what I'm saying? We want to cling to these Western traditions. We don't want to wake up one day and say, I ain't celebrating this, I ain't doing this, I ain't doing that. I'm taking my kid out of this, and we finna do our own thing. We don't want to do that collectively. You know what I'm saying? That's why I don't nobody take us seriously, because we don't do things collectively. All we want to do is argue about uh who should eat first, the man or the kids. We want to argue about stuff like that. Who's sitting in the passenger seat, the moms or the wife. We want to argue about stuff like that. That's what we want to argue about. That's what we want to argue about. We want to argue about that type of stuff. Like, that's where we at with it. That's the type of stuff that we sit here and debate about. That's the stuff that we sit here and we have in-depth conversations about. Who eats first? Literally. Like, that's what we on. Who gets their plate first? That's what we want to argue about. Like, that's what we on. Like, that's gonna change anything. Who cares who's sitting in that passenger seat? Who cares? Who literally cares who's sitting in that passenger seat? But that's what we want to sit here and that's what we want to focus all our time and energy on. We want to focus all our time and energy on that nonsense. Like I said, we want to talk about sex and things along those lines. Whole agendas out here that's destroying our people, that's killing our people. We want to talk about these things. We want to waste our time talking about this type of stuff, man. That's what we are entertained by. That's what we want to discuss. That's what we want to discuss. But then we wonder why things are not changing. We wonder why things are not changing because look at what we prioritize in regards to like our choice of media, things that we consume. Look what's important to us. Look what causes us to have in-depth conversations. It's a bunch of nonsense. It's a bunch of gossip. It's a bunch of things that don't even matter. And we argue about these things. When those memes come out about who should sit in the passenger seat, the wife or the mother, like that caused arguments. Like people were arguing. People were dead serious. Like life got real. Life got real. Just nah, man. My book it still should be on that joint. Unless they done messed around and banned my book and I ain't know about it. But it should it should still be on there. Let me see if I can find that joint. It should still be on there. Yep, it's still on there. You type in Inner Mask, Eric Bell on Amazon, and it should come up. Mr. Seven, exactly. That's what I have. That's what I have said. That's what I have proposed. That's what I have suggested. All that money that we spend on designer clothes, all that money that we spend on a bunch of all that money that we spend on fast food. Just think about fast food for a moment. Just think about all the money that people spend on fast food. Just think about it. Just think about all the money that black people spend on fast food, going out to eat to these restaurants. Man, I guarantee you that number is crazy. If I can go find that number somewhere, I guarantee you the amount of money that we spend on just fast food and just going out to these restaurants yearly, I bet you that number is hitting the millions easily. Easily. And that's just fast food and going out to restaurants. I guarantee you that number is hitting millions. And I'm talking about just black people. Guarantee you. That's some of the funding money right there. But we spending that money on our destruction, eating our way into an early grave. Oh, just, hey, that's crazy. Oh, yeah, you talking about that book. Oh, yeah, that one might be, what's crazy is it shouldn't be out of print. I forgot about that book. But that book should not be out of print, actually. I'm gonna have to go do the knowledge. I'm gonna have to go change that or something. That shouldn't be, it shouldn't be out of print. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and revise that or something. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, we like listen. Listen, we spend our money on nonsense. And I'm saying just fast food and just going to these restaurants alone. Like that money right there can fund our liberation. That money right there. And I ain't even talk about the other things that we spend our money on. I ain't even talk about that. Just that money right there, stuff that we should not be eating in the first place. Just that money. If we spent that money better, that can change the game. Air view, that's how you getting it in. You know what I'm saying? We'll rock with it. You get it in. You get it in the way that's convenient for you. You know what I'm saying? So you still getting the books in. You still getting them in. Mr. Seven, man. And like I said, it's gonna start with the select few. You know what I'm saying? Those of us that are in the know, that are willing to come together and do this, it's gonna start with us. And that can happen now. You know what I'm saying? That can happen now. A small group of us, it don't take a lot. When you look at the power structure of America, it's not a lot of people that have power. It's a small amount. Small amount. So it don't even take a lot of people. Nappy Ted, peace, what's happening? Oh yeah, Kuma, man. Amazon, Uber Eats. It's all crazy out here, man. They drilling us. I mean, people straight be ordering food off of like Uber Eats and things like that, paying these extra fees just to have some food that they not supposed to be eating delivered to them. That's the type of world that I'm not doing that, man. I'm not about to pay extra for some food that is destroying me for you to deliver it. Like that's come on. Come on now. Come on now. You paying extra to have some food that's bad for you delivered. Like that's what we on. Terminator for sure. Minority controls the majority. Mindset of an introvert. You say how you grew up? Like what you mean by that? Where you at? Sharif, man, you say, how do I start teaching my 10-year-old godson knowledge of self? He knows a little bit, but he could learn more. Where do I start? Has he tapped into any books? That'd be the first question. Has he tapped into any books? I'm pretty sure that he has. You say you know a little. I always start with the books that's relevant to the reading level. You know what I'm saying? So I would have to tap into some of the books, man, that I would recommend for a 10-year-old to read. But definitely, if he's read any books, that'll be the first thing. Like books that they can comprehend at that age, that got a lot of pictures. You know what I'm saying? So I would find books that have a lot of pictures and have them break down those books. So a lot of books that's referencing the culture, referencing our ancestors that have a lot of pictures for the child to see. Say, hey, we responsible for X, Y, and Z. Here go the pictures. Here go the pyramids. Here go the person that's responsible for building them. Is black. So I'm gonna give you an example. Hold up. So like this book right here. When We Rule. Now, of course, might not recommend a 10-year-old to read them, but what I'm saying is this book has pictures. Like you can see the pictures. Boom. This makes it easier to teach like a 10-year-old, to teach somebody that's young. It makes them easier to see it. They're able to see these pictures. Like they're able to see the monuments. Boom. And they're able to see the people who built the monuments. Boom. It's a lot of pictures, man. So that's the best way to tap into the mind of a 10-year-old. You find a lot of books that have pictures. So a lot of books that was written by Black people for Black people that has a lot of illustrations in it. You start there. So I will find all books with illustrations, and then I would probably, hey, if I got to read the book to them. So if I got to take When We Rule, like a book like this, read it to the 10-year-old, I'm gonna have to do that. So you read the book to them, and then you associate every time a picture come up. Boom, you associate the picture with something great. Like that's what it is. Picture is associated with something great that a Black person did, somebody that looks like them. Boom, these are all monuments all throughout this book. Like I could just keep going in this book. Like this book is cool with the pictures. Like look at that. Boom, pictures. So they're able to associate a greatness with their skin tone, their pigmentation. So I think books with a lot of illustrations are important for a young person, like 10, younger, with knowledge of self, in regards to teaching them knowledge of self. And then on top of that, outside of the books, then it's more so just building up their confidence, letting them know that they can be and do anything that they want to be and do. So that's the part of knowledge of self, man. Just telling them to ask themselves questions. If they want something out of life, just ask themselves questions, how to get it. Like stuff like that is important too. So just teaching them to have the confidence in themselves, man, figuring out what it is that they want to do, and then just helping them become the best version of themselves in regards to completing that objective or fulfilling that purpose and mission. You know, so it's all about that self-confidence, along with just finding books with a lot of illustrations in them, and so they can associate greatness with their pigmentation with Black. So that's important. That's important. Oh, Shana for sure. Sick, overweight, unhealthy. That's exactly what they become, and then complain about it. And then want to come holler at somebody like me, a trainer, and want me to perform a miracle. You shouldn't have been eating like that. And then not only you gonna want me to perform a miracle, but you want to continue to eat the same type of way. Nah, you're not gonna lose this weight if you don't change the way that you eat. I can't help you. Like if you can't just lift weights and run on a treadmill and think that the weight gonna drop. You continue to eat all this trash food. Don't work like that. Mindset of an introvert, man. Like I say, hey, the red pill, all them pills, man. I ain't really up to date on that type of stuff. I really don't care. It seems like it's like divisive, bunch of nonsense to me. So I don't even deal with it. So I don't deal with any of those pills. Pills are not good for you. You know what I'm saying? So I don't consume any form of pill, metaphorically speaking, and in the physical. So I don't associate with any of those joints. I don't even tap into them to give you any type of insight and opinion on it for real, honestly. Mr. Seven for sure. That and again, that's something that's definitely something that I'm working towards, man. I'm trying to wait to reveal a lot of what I'm working on in regards to that, in regards to this organization that I plan on starting. And it's just I got a plan for that. I don't want to reveal too much because again, they listening and we don't supposed to reveal everything on these here platforms because they tapping in. But I definitely got something in the works in regards to what it is that you are talking about. But I don't want to reveal too much because I know that they tapped in. So it's certain things that I'm not gonna tap into just yet because they listening, they watching it, and all that type of stuff. But I definitely got an answer to that. Definitely. Black Nitro. It's a lot of people that okay, Sharif, and there you go. Well, you on the right track then. So on top of the pictures, on top of the books with the illustrations, then now it's just lectures. You know what I'm saying? Just so they can see the lecture. So you on the right path. So what you doing is right and exact. What you doing is right and exact. Boom. You showing them the illustrations so they can associate greatness with Blackness. Then now all you do now, show them the lectures from some of the greats. You know what I'm saying? So they can see Malcolm X, Khalid Muhammad. They may not, you know what I'm saying, may not resonate they may not understand what they're talking about, but man, just let them see it. Let them see the power. Let them see the power in the black man. Let them see the power in the black woman. You know what I'm saying? Show them the lectures. Let them hear the conscious music. You know what I'm saying? Things like that, man. Let them hear the conscious music. Again, they may not comprehend and understand what's going on now, but you got to tap into the subconscious. Tap into the subconscious. So put that music with a message on it. You know what I'm saying? Have them listen to that in some headphones, music with a message. They ain't understanding what's going on, but subconsciously, they picking up on some vibes. That also helps with the knowledge of self. Let them hear that speech through some headphones. It's resonating with them subconsciously. Consciously, they may not understand what's going on, but subconsciously, they picking it up. And that's going to, again, activate that knowledge of self. So you on the right path, my brother. You're on the right path for sure. Mindset of an introvert. You say your upbringing, what type of person you were from adolescent to adulthood. And you say just curious because you don't really talk about it, which I understand. I mean, for the most part, I don't talk. I mean, before pre-18, like when I made a lot of my transitions when I was like 19, like 18, 19, 20. Before that, man, I was lost just like everybody else, man. I was out here living a savage way of life. I wasn't too crazy, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't doing like bunch of foul things out here, man. But I was just like ignorant, just destructive, man. I ain't care about a lot. I ain't really embraced women like I should have at that time. Like I was, man, I treated them just like trash. I ain't really care about them at that particular point. So in that regards, man, I was just ignorant, man. I was just out here, man. I ain't really care about much at that time, man. I didn't value a lot, didn't value life for the most part at that particular point, man. But it was certain things that my parents did that kind of stuck with me once I got the knowledge of self. Like one key thing I always remember. That's why I know that it's important to show children like speeches and lectures. To this day, I remember having VHS tapes of Farrakhan and Khalid Muhammad back in the day. I didn't understand what was being talked about, but I remember them watching Farrakhan and just being just mesmerized, man, and hooked into what they were saying. I remember that. I remember it vividly, man. We used to have them joints on VHS, man. We had a few. They had a few Farrakhan speeches, and I think I remember one with Khalid Muhammad on it when he spoke. And like I said back then, I'm not knowing who these people are, but then when I started getting the knowledge, it's like boom, it clicked. I was like, man, I remember watching him when I remember him being on VHS. I remember this. So now it's clicking. I realize now why my people was hooked into it. But back then, I just remember hearing the speeches, and I remember seeing my people, they was hooked into it. That did something to me subconsciously. I didn't understand what was happening at the time, but that stuck with me. One of the few things that stuck with me, but that stuck with me, man. So that's why I feel like it's important just to show children that. I mean, you show them all these speeches, all these lectures by these powerful black people, man, it's going to stick. It's going to stick. They're going to remember that. They're going to remember seeing Farrakhan. They're going to remember seeing Khalid Muhammad. They're going to remember that. Like, man, I remember seeing a speech on VHS about this dude, man. Let me tap in, man. This is the dude I remember seeing. Because they're going to come across that image again. And when they come across it, they're going to remember it. And they're going to start tapping back in. They're going to start tapping back in. They're going to say, man, what was my people watching dude for? Let me watch it. And that's going to activate some things. That's going to activate some things for sure. Oh, Mr. Seven for sure, man. But yeah, man, it's a lot, man. Like my childhood, it was what it was, man. A lot of ups and downs. Had situations that I wasn't proud of, had situations that I was proud of, man. But for the most part, when it comes to my upbringing, man, I was like a pure, like I was just into sports for real for the most part, man. I wasn't into anything else, man. I was cool in school up until high school, but I was more so into like sports and things along those lines, man. I was a basketball player first, then I was a football player, man. So my childhood consists of a lot of sports. That's pretty much what I was into for the most part. Sports and like music. It's literally was it. Hence why I was rapping for a very long time, man. But it was sports, music. I wasn't into reading. I wasn't into pretty much anything besides sports, music. You know what I'm saying? That was it. That was it. You know what I'm saying? I had my, you know what I'm saying, little situations, man, where I got into it with the establishment, little things that I went through. Y'all already know the stuff I talked about in high school that I went through, man. So we got that. And I pretty much then got into it when I was in sports. I got into it with all the all my coaches and whatnot, man. So I was always a person to get into it with authority. for the most part, man. I ain't never really like you. What I just didn't. I wasn't a person. I wasn't a kid that you could just tell anything to without me responding, man. So a lot of times, that would get me in trouble. A lot of times that would get me in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Because I say what's on my mind. So I got into it a lot of times, man, just with my fam, with my mother and pops, because I was gonna say what's on my mind. I was gonna say what's on my mind, and that led to me being kind of ducked off and closed off because a lot of times me speaking what's on my mind as a child got me in trouble. So I associated speaking my mind with trouble because every time I spoke my mind, I got in trouble. So that led me to not speaking how I felt because I felt like every time that I do this, I get in trouble. So I was like, you know what? I'm just not gonna speak my mind anymore. I'm not gonna speak my truth because then that would keep me out of trouble. So that's one of the reasons why I communicate the way that I do these days because I associated speaking my mind with trouble for the longest. They're just man, I be slow, I be terrible on the chat, man. But hey, I feel like I'm better than most people that stream. A lot of people stream, they ignore all the chats except for the super chats. Man, I be trying to get to people in them, man. But when I get off invent mode, you might as well. When I get off invent mode, you might as well cancel Christmas on thinking I may respond. Like I done had some people get offended by not responding. I'm like, whoa, I know it was that deep in the field. But when you catch me in vent mode, you might as well cancel Christmas. I probably not gonna see if you ask a question directed towards me. I'm more than likely not gonna see it when I'm venting. And y'all know how it is, or y'all know how I get when I vent. So y'all know when it is that I'm venting. Better Future, appreciate that donation. You say the books you recommended has helped me gain so much confidence in my blackness and understanding myself as a black man looking to support. Right on, my brother. And I got a million more books to recommend. I got so many books to recommend, man. It is ridiculously crazy. And every time somebody say that, they get me started on more books to recommend, man. I got like a bunch of books right here. Like, I don't know, like this book right here. This is a book about wealth building, the laws of wealth. Like, I got like random books like that, man. The laws of wealth, man. Dr. Daniel Crosby, like just books like that, man. But I got a lot of books that I recommend. Nero, peace, what's happening? Black Nitro, the crazy thing is a lot of people change for worse. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, man, my situation, I changed due to the fact that the stuff I went through for the most part in high school, that caused a lot of this rebellious energy that you see. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what led to that energy, man. Me wanting to really go against the system. That's one of the reasons why I wear my hair the way that I do, and I just embrace my nappiness, man. And I'm going to succeed by any means necessary with a nappy head. A nappy head. Like, I'm going to succeed by any means necessary with a nappy head simply because there's people out here, man, that try to make it seem like that's impossible. Like, stop playing with me, man. Like, we gotta stop playing with me. Man, Lee, hey, y'all, man, I get it, but man, yo, whoo. Like, as far as when I say trash, because I had a few like it's still some things that I carry from that younger, like my temper was horrible. Like my temper was horrible. Like my temper still is not the greatest, but I have come a long way. But like my temper was terrible. That's hence why I would get into it with a lot of people. Man, my temper was bad. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't take much for me to like spaz and snap. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't take much, man. A lot of people in my neighborhood at the time, they used to get a kick out of like they know if they wanted to see a fight, just have somebody mess with me because my temper would get the best of me, and then we end up fighting. I end up fighting, man. It's like they know that, like they used to get a kick out of it because it didn't take much to just set me off. You know what I'm saying? So if they wanted things to get violent or whatever, man, they'd just mess with me, and they know that, you know what I'm saying, eventually I'm gonna end up snapping. So that, like, I had a real terrible temper back in the day. Ooh, Sharif, man, the book on Chinese medicine. Sheesh, I got a few of them joints actually, but I think this is the one you're talking about. Between Heaven and Earth, A Guide to Chinese Medicine. I think that's the joint you may be talking about. But I got a few books on Chinese medicine. I don't see, I can't tell if I got the other ones around in my face, man. But I got a few books on Chinese medicine. Dead Better Future, man. I'm telling you, man. Like I said, that's why I resonate with Khalid Muhammad. That's why I resonate with Malcolm X. Like that's why I resonate with these individuals. You know, R.I.P. to MLK. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't never really I couldn't feel MLK. Like I never did. Like I'm like I don't feel this. He was starting to wake up at the end of it, but I just never felt good about MLK and the message. And I also never felt good about the fact that they always taught us about MLK in school. Like he's the only acceptable black man for them to teach us about. I was always suspect of that. I'm like, nah. You know what I'm saying? So that created a disdain for MLK, sadly enough, in my case. You know what I'm saying? I've come to respect him a little bit more as I've gotten older, but I'm still not, you know what I'm saying? If you hear me mention, you know, ancestors that have inspired me, I don't normally mention MLK, and that's for real. He just never, to be honest, if I'm being honest, like he never inspired me. I was never inspired by MLK. So I don't really list him as like somebody that inspired me. Now, again, if somebody, you know, say, well, MLK did this and that, I'm not going to argue with him, but he's not one of the, like, personally, he's not somebody that inspired me. I don't have MLK banners, and I probably would never, like, I just don't, MLK is not somebody that resonates with me. And it's a few people like that, man. But MLK was just, I just did not, I just don't feel the message of MLK. Like it's something about MLK that just never sat right with me, and it still doesn't sit right with me. But respect to the people that are inspired by what MLK did, and just respect to some of the things that he did do. But personally, he's just not somebody that I would say this is one of these are some of the dudes that are some of the ancestors that really pushed me to become who I am. I just don't include MLK, and I know that that's unpopular. You know what I'm saying? When people list a lot of black men that motivated them and inspired them from the past, MLK always comes up. But I rarely speak about MLK because he just didn't do anything for me back in the day, nor now. You know, I just never. He again started to wake up toward the tail end of the situation, which is why some people believe he was assassinated. But it's like his overall message. I wouldn't have rocked with it. You know what I'm saying? If I was back then, I wouldn't have rocked with him. Like just honestly, I just wouldn't have rocked with. I would have fell victim right to the division, because I wouldn't have been. I was like, man, what is he talking about? I can't fool what he's talking about. Oh yeah, Ray. Hey, if you started thinning, man, it was. I understand that. I understand for sure. So you know what I'm saying? I try to be respectable about it. Back in the day, I used to go hard. Like you know what I'm saying? I used to not fool with MLK and go hard about it. But now it's like, nah, man, I don't fool with it. I just don't fool with the message. It just what it wasn't for me. Cause even then, like again, I'm not religious, but a lot of people think that'd be the reason why I say I don't fool with MLK, because I'm not a Christian and all that. I don't fool with the Bible. But I'm like, I'm not a Muslim neither. And I'm rocking with Malcolm and Khalid, you know, and Marcus Garvey fooled with the Bible. Marcus Garvey was religious. You know what I'm saying? I fooled with Marcus Garvey. Nat Turner was religious and things along those lines. Fooled with Nat Turner. MLK, I just feel like they put a battery in his back, man, and they used him to neutralize the radical, as they called Muslims back in the day. Like they used him to neutralize them, man. So I just never. I was like, man, I can't get with it. I can't get with it at all. Yeah, Montel, and that's ultimately what I learned to do, and even still, it wasn't many best parts that I took away from, because once I started to feel like you was like a pawn used by the system to neutralize like that radical black consciousness, like to neutralize that energy that would have like really changed the game. Because if they didn't have, listen, if they didn't have MLK and that message at the time, it was gonna be war. That's the type of energy that we was having it was gonna be war. If they didn't have MLK and that energy at the time to neutralize like it would have been war. It would have been war. Like black people was at that, man, black people was tired of that nonsense, man. But they got MLK was able to pacify enough. Able to pacify enough. He pacified a lot of black folks to the point where black people was not rocking with Malcolm. They was not rocking with anybody that was talking about. And then, you know, when it comes to Malcolm, when it even Stokely Carmichael now, even Stokely Carmichael, he mentioned the same thing. He was like, man, we really wasn't rocking with, you know, what MLK was talking about. We was rocking with Brother Malcolm because they ain't fool with the nonviolent approach and all. Listen, people was calling Malcolm X, they were calling it violence. Well, all they were saying was if somebody hit you, you hit them back. Basically the way your mama raised you. But they got accused of they got accused of just preaching hatred. They got accused of preaching violence when all they were pretty much saying was if these folks attack you, you hit back. That's it. That's it. But they wanted to make people fear Malcolm and Khaled and all these people at the time. Like, nah, somebody hit you, you hit them back. Akuma, you say, did Farrakhan set Malcolm X up? Crazy thing. See, the funny thing about this situation with the NOI, and this is where I have my disagreements with them. Because if you study Malcolm X and Khalid Muhammad are some of my favorite people on the planet. You know what I'm saying? They ever walked the planet. You know what I'm saying? Khalid and Malcolm, those are my dudes. And it's almost like it's bittersweet because at the same time where I feel like the NOI wasn't totally responsible, they played a role in some of this stuff because people were paid off. Or you have people that were paid off that claim to be Muslims. Like that's a belief also. But either way, it's like if I feel like the NOI was involved, I still can't take away the fact that if you did not have the NOI, then you would not have these great brothers. You wouldn't. It's hard to take Malcolm X away. Like it's hard to say you would have Malcolm X without Elijah Muhammad. It's hard to say you would have Khalid Muhammad without Farrakhan. Now I feel like you had a better chance of having Khalid Muhammad without Farrakhan than you would have had in regards to Malcolm and Elijah Muhammad, because Malcolm was just on the wrong path, 100%, totally. You know what I'm saying? So he read the message to the black man, and that woke him up. But Malcolm, in no way, shape, or form, was headed toward that direction, even though his people were Garveyites. Malcolm was just not about to live that life. Khalid, on the other hand, he always had that rebellious energy. He always was like on that type of stuff, man. He was always on it. He always had that energy. You know, at that particular point, though, like the Nation of Islam caught his mind, like because of what they were talking about. So he always had that energy, though. So I feel like Khalid Muhammad may have still made some noise without Farrakhan, without the Nation of Islam. But I don't know if I can say the same about Malcolm. But either way, without the NOI, you would not have these great brothers, and you would not have them at their peak and in their prime. You won't have some of the most quotable Malcolm X lines without the works of Elijah Muhammad. Now, Elijah Muhammad is accused of some, you know what I'm saying, some foul things. But you would not have Malcolm X if it wasn't for the teachings of Elijah Muhammad. You would not have Khalid Muhammad if it wasn't for the teachings of Elijah Muhammad. So it's like, I hate that situation because you would not have these dudes without the organization. But the organization was on some foul stuff. It was jealousy. You know what I'm saying? The thing with the Nation of Islam, it goes back to the 48 laws of power. One of the first laws to tell you to never outshine your master. So the Nation of Islam, they live by that. So you can't be Khalid Muhammad and you outshining Farrakhan. You got to go. We can't have that. You can't be Malcolm X outshining Elijah Muhammad. That's supposed to be your master. You're not supposed to do that. So they start outshining the master. Malcolm X was more, listen, he was more eloquent. You know what I'm saying? He was more attractive in regards to his speeches, his lectures. Like he was a better speaker than Elijah Muhammad. So he was going to generate more attention. He was outshining the master. Khalid was doing the same thing. Khalid was no holds barred. He was going to generate attention. He was able to lead men. He was able to draw in the gang members. Like Khalid had he had that magnetic, and that was essentially going to lead him to outshine Farrakhan, which I feel like at that time he possibly was outshining Farrakhan. You're not supposed to do that. So once these dudes start doing that in these organizations, boom, the jealousy, the envy, all that type of stuff. And then even within the nation, you had paid agents and informants. And this is documented. So within the Nation of Islam, back then and probably still to this day, you had a lot of informants. And this is documented. So this ain't even nothing that we got to make up. So it was a lot of informants in the NOI. So a lot of people that were paid to act like they were Muslims, but were really not Muslims. So in that sense, it's hard to blame the NOI. But I see why people do. But you had a lot of people that were paid to become Muslim, become certified or registered Muslims, just to infiltrate, just to spy. So when you got something like that, it's only a matter of time before things like Malcolm X getting assassinated, Khalid Muhammad getting ousted from it. Like people were literally hating on Khalid from within the NOI, but a lot of the people that were hating on him were informants. So they were there to stir up friction. They were there to cause tension. So a lot of times people don't be knowing and understanding that. That's why when you have these big organizations, it can get dangerous because it makes it that much easier for them to infiltrate these organizations. When an organization is too big, best believe you're going to have a lot of informants in that joint. So you better be mindful of who you're talking to when you got these organizations that are humongous. So you best believe that. But as far as Elijah and Farrakhan, like when it comes to Malcolm, I'm not gonna necessarily put that all on Farrakhan. I would say because Elijah Muhammad was more so connected to that. Elijah Muhammad had more of the power then in regards to something happening to Malcolm. So I'm not going to associate that with Farrakhan. Like Farrakhan was under Elijah. Elijah was still alive at the time of Malcolm being assassinated. So I'm never going to say Farrakhan was solely responsible for anything happening to Malcolm because Elijah was the man when Malcolm was alive. So if anything happened to Malcolm and the NOI had any involvement, it was under the orders of Elijah and not Farrakhan. Farrakhan wouldn't have had that type of pull. It would have been Elijah. Now with Khalid, Farrakhan, just based off of what I'm reading, you know what I'm saying? Farrakhan definitely had roles in that. Definitely. It was written in this book that I'm reading, like I'm almost halfway through it. But Farrakhan literally told Khalid the way that I played. What do you say, man? I'm gonna have to paraphrase it. But the way I was under the tutelage of Elijah, the way I sat back and waited my turn under Elijah, the way I didn't outshine Elijah Muhammad is the way you need to be with me. So Farrakhan was literally telling Khalid like the way, like, listen, you need to learn how to play second fiddle to me. That's kind of interesting. That's kind of interesting. That's kind of interesting. But as far as something happening to Malcolm, you got to look at Elijah for that. Now, again, I'm not saying anybody was responsible for anything. Y'all know the people that's responsible for it. I mean, the dude that one of the dudes that pulled the trigger on Malcolm that was there, like he's literally still alive. He literally is still alive. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we got information in regards to what happened. He didn't kind of broke down what happened. You know what I'm saying? They accused is crazy because you got the dude that's locked up right now that had a role in it, but the other dudes that they locked up that they said was associated with the assassination of Malcolm, the dude that is in jail right now that actually was there and responsible, he said them dudes had nothing to do with it. He said them dudes had nothing to do with it. You know what I'm saying? So hey, you could just do the knowledge to the dude that's still alive that's responsible for that. So I gotta y'all know I forget names out here. I'm finna look up. I'm finna give y'all the name. Yeah, y'all know I be forgetting the name, so I give y'all some homework. Give y'all some homework for sure, man. Y'all look into it. But it be too many names to remember out here, man. But y'all look up Thomas Hagen. Just look up Thomas Hagen or Tamaj. That's the name I was looking for. Tamaj X Hayer. Just look him up and just see what he had to say about it. Just look him up. Montel, yeah, I know plenty about Farah Muhammad based on studying. Plenty about Farah Muhammad. You know what I'm saying? We like the lessons that we got, we kind of required to at least semi-study for. But yeah, that like the Farah Muhammad situation is very interesting. Very interesting, especially the way that he just vanished. You know what I'm saying? People like Farah Muhammad literally vanished and nobody knows what happened to him, as the legend goes. So that's a real interesting situation though. But Farah Muhammad's story is rather interesting. Definitely interesting. Oh, Shayna for sure. Yeah. MLK was rocking with some people that I ain't. Yeah, man. Like that's what I'm saying, man. Just associated with some things I couldn't fool with. I couldn't fool with, man. But like I said, that's why I'm connected to Khaled. I'm connected to Malcolm. You know what I'm saying? Like Huey Newton. Like these are the people that I connect with when I start, like Fred Hampton. When I study these people, I'm like, all right, this is I fool with this. I fool with what they are talking about. You know what I'm saying? That's the energy, man. Like George Jackson, like the Soul Dad Brothers, like that book right there, man. That book was a game changer for me. The Soul Dad Brothers. I read that book and was like, okay, this is something I need right here. Yeah, George Jackson pen game was crazy as far as his writing style. Yeah, like I fool with George Jackson. Montel for sure. And that's a lot of people say dude was white. The let me see how I want to phrase it. The NOI perspective is that he was what they would call mixed. And the reason being because they, y'all know how they view Master Farah Muhammad. So they say the reason why he came mixed is because he had to come in the form, like he had to come in that form in order for his teachings to be received. Because if he came as a foreigner, or if he came of any other type of complexion, then the message would not have been received. So that's one of the reasons why they feel like he came mixed, or he came of the lighter shade, so that the message will be better received. So that's the theory there. But it's a lot of incorrect information that people be spewing about Farah Muhammad as well, though. It's a lot of incorrect information that's out here too. A lot of people that haven't studied any type of NOI doctrine, but that's a whole nother video there. Yeah, y'all say after Malcolm. Ooh, that okay. So man, I don't know. Like that right there is hard. That's hard. That's hard. That's hard because we, even with Malcolm, like I said, you still had MLK, so you still had a lot of, because contrary to popular belief, there were not a lot of black people fooling with Malcolm and his message. They felt like he was too radical. So it was a lot of black people that were not like, nothing is new under the sun. So even in the time of Malcolm, it was a lot of black people that was like, man, he too radical. It's almost like today, if you fast forward to today and you be on that black stuff and you try to take it around your family and they like, oh, here you come with that. Malcolm X was viewed in that light by a lot of black people back then. Man, my grandparents and all that type of stuff, they were alive during that time. They don't really rock with Malcolm X. Like they don't, like my whole little like when I go back to my home, like where my peoples grew up at in Mississippi, They not talking about like they don't when they start talking, they don't start talking about how great Malcolm X was. They don't fool with Malcolm X. They gonna fool with MLK because a lot of our people, they were like Christians and things along those lines. They didn't fool with Malcolm X because of him being a Muslim. You know what I'm saying? So it was a lot of black people at that time that did not fool with Malcolm X simply because he was a Muslim. Like I said, my grandparents, when they talk, they ain't not talking about Malcolm X. You mention Malcolm X, they probably gonna think that you crazy because that's how a lot of people viewed him back then. So we were still bad off even when Malcolm was here because of the picture that they painted of Malcolm back then and how he was neutralized by the more passive message. So we still wasn't in the best state with Malcolm. We still wasn't in it. We still were not in the best. We was not in the best state with Malcolm. You know what I'm saying? So I don't even want to say things got worse after he died because things never really was better when he was alive. It really wasn't. Things were still out here trash. You know what I'm saying? Like again, a lot of my people, a lot of my older people that I know in my family, they were not associating with Malcolm. They still to this day won't talk about Malcolm. They won't praise Malcolm. They won't talk highly of Malcolm. And these were people that existed back then. So the energy, like Malcolm, like use somebody like myself, for example. Malcolm would have got the same type of energy. He was probably getting the same type of energy that somebody like myself would get. Like, oh, here this dude go talking about the white people is the devil again. They wasn't too fond of that back then. Because you got to think about all the Bible thumpers that we had back in the day. Like you got to think about how most of your grandparents, they fool with the Bible. They Christians, they Catholics, they Baptists. They were not Muslims. So when they came up under that Christian, Baptist, Catholic title, they were informed not to fool with Muslims. So I mean, that's a tough one. That's a tough one because, like I said, a lot of black people did not fool with Malcolm and that message. They felt like it was too radical. And at that time, the fear was instilled. If you was talking like that as a black man, like you was gonna get assassinated. So a lot of times, man, people was instilling that fear, like you can't be talking like Malcolm because you're gonna end up assassinated. Whole while MLK gets assassinated, and he was not Malcolm. So what that tell you? Oh yeah, wisdom for sure, for sure. Oh yeah, Justin. Because like I said, we had even after Malcolm, we like you know what I'm saying. We had a little glimpse of just what we could do. Like even the move community in what was that Philly? You know what I'm saying? Just little things like that, man. And then you had the Black Panther Party, and then Khalid Muhammad came back to the surface. You know what I'm saying? Like Khalid Muhammad came back to the surface and started dropping his information, and then boom, you see what happened. See what happened with that. Then Khalid Muhammad ended up once he left the Nation of Islam, he goes to the Black Panther Party and then mysteriously dies and things along those lines. Like that type of stuff happens. But you know what I'm saying? They not gonna like once a black man reaches that level, it's only a matter of time before attempts are made on their lives. It's only a matter of time. Like Marcus Garvey had a lot of pull, but Garvey wasn't when you study Garvey wasn't the best like business minded person. So his mistake was he just wasn't savvy with the business moves. That's how he was able to get kind of pimped and played because Marcus Garvey just wasn't savvy with the business acumen. You know what I'm saying? So again, like all of our leaders didn't have faults. So that's why we got to study where they went wrong so we can learn from that. But Marcus Garvey definitely failed when it came to the business aspect of what he was doing. He was too loose with it because he did not know. You know what I'm saying? He trusted the wrong individuals. And that's how he ended up, you know what I'm saying? That's how that situation ended up not working out. But Marcus Garvey had a solid plan. The Nation of Islam, love them or hate them, but they do have a solid structure. Love them or hate them, like the Nation of Islam like Farrakhan, like when Elijah Muhammad was alive, they had a solid structure. They were literally doing for self. They was having grocery stores, cleaners, man, they was having all type of stuff, man. They little newspaper, they was selling new, like look, they were doing for self. The NOI at that time had a very strong economic blueprint in regards to what it would look like if we came together under one banner and did for self. the Nation of Islam, like I said, love them or hate them. But when Elijah Muhammad was in his heyday, they had a very good blueprint. Now I feel like Elijah Muhammad was also pimping them as well, but the way they viewed Elijah Muhammad, they was okay with that. It's almost like when you donate all your money to a pastor, you okay with that pastor living in $1 million house while you struggling. You okay with that. But a lot of Muslims at that time, man, they were doing a lot of powerful things for themselves because that's what the message was. That economic freedom, economic liberation, and things like that. So the Nation of Islam had a very strong blueprint. And then the Fruit of Islam, the FOI. So they had the military, they had the protection. So like they have a very good, I feel like the Nation of Islam, if I'm being unbiased, has the very best structure in regards to how it would look if we came together. Their structure is on point. I got to give the brothers that. I got to give the sisters that. They have a very strong structure. The Nation of Islam structure is nice. From just the do for self, the Fruit of Islam, like they literally have a very strong structure. And I feel like it was in his heyday around the time of Malcolm, when Elijah Muhammad was kind of like in his prime and things along those lines. But that's a very good structure. I feel like that's one of the best structures. I feel like that's one of the best structures. Now, of course, there was corruption within that structure, but like the idea that they have, man, like I feel like it's solid. I feel like it's solid. Like I feel like it was solid though. Greg for sure. Yeah, that final call is what I'm saying. Like they was out here. If you like love them or hate them, you gotta you gotta give them brothers credit. You know what I'm saying? You gotta give them brothers and sisters credit. Like the structure is on point. Now, of course, like I said, you're gonna have corruption. You're gonna have that in any organization, but they be on point. They be on point. All better future for sure. For sure, I already know. I'm gonna give y'all a prime example. I do things on purpose to prove points. Look at what happened when I talked about Jada Pinkett needing to shut up. That I think that video got the most views of like all my videos. That video got the most views because I'm talking about Jada Pinkett. This was experimental. It's like I tell people all the time, I know what to do. When I talk about this type of stuff, it don't hit 1,000. It don't hit 1,000. When I tell Jada Pinkett to STFU, it hits it almost hit 2,000 in a matter of days. That's how the world is structured. When I start talking about this type of stuff, man, you hard pressed if this hit 500-600. But that was me. That's an experiment. That's experimentation. I knew that was gonna happen. It's like, watch this. I was like, wow. I said, I guarantee you, if I talk about, I'm in my head, I'm like, I guarantee you, if I talk about this, if I make this the title, I guarantee you, this is gonna take off. Every time I have called it, it has happened. Every time. Every time. Every time I call it, it happens, man. Every time, it never fails. Never fails. I called that when it happened, just like I saw it. I like, watch this. I'm gonna tell Jada Pinkett the STFU, boom, they're gonna be your views right there, and that's exactly what happened. Exactly what happened. So you reel them in with the ignorance, and then you try to educate them, but then that's when they start walking away from you. You know what I'm saying? But that I'm telling you, that was an experiment. I was like, all right, this is how it's gonna work, and that's exactly how it went. That's exactly how it went. So it's a sad reality. Yeah, see, I'm telling you, it's crazy. I've done that with a few. I've done it a few times. I've done it with a few videos, and they all they all are like my most watched videos. Those ones where I do that intentionally, and it's crazy. It's crazy. Cosmic K, I already know. I already know. That's why I'm not tripping. The people that need to receive it are receiving it. Thunder, yeah, hey, the title was right and exact. I meant what I said. And don't get that wrong. I meant what I said. I just knew the reception I would get. But I definitely meant what I said. That's why I did it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna always stay true to myself. I definitely meant that title. Oh yeah, Greg. They can't understand it. They can't understand it. But they gonna get this work one way or another though. Better future that, and it's crazy. And you've never lied. Um, the pro. Listen, better future to ask a great question. The question you can ask is, what is the priority of the collective? I can tell you, building is not one of them. Actual fact, but they may tell you that it is. Most of the spaces talk about relationships, yet they are singles with no women, and sometimes vice versa. But the priority is, I really don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know what people are after, man. But these spaces, relationships, definitely. That listen, if you wanna make your bread, if you wanna come up, man, all you gotta do is start talking about that and choose a side, and deliver it in a certain manner. And that's just marketing. They tell you, you know what I'm saying. They tell you that that's one of the way. They tell you that that's one of the best markets to tap into relationships. You know what I'm saying. People want to hear about that. People want to hear about why they don't have a man. They want to hear about why they don't have a woman. You know what I'm saying? They want you to confirm why dudes ain't this, that, and the third. They want you to confirm why women ain't this, that, and the third. Like that's what they want. They want you to confirm that, to validate that, so they can feel better about their situation. You know, you know what I'm saying? So that's just what it is, man. Like I said, I don't really tap into a lot of it. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't really tap into it because for the most part, people that be tapping into these joints, they be coming away feeling angry. They be coming away with a lot of animosity because again, somebody else's journey is not your journey. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else's path is not your path, especially when it comes to relationships and things along those lines. Man, we all different. We all different individuals, man. So what may work for somebody else may not work for you. You know what I'm saying? People like come to me asking me all type of advice in regards to relationship. I'm like, man, I can't tell you anything. I can only tell you what works for me because I know who I am. You are a totally different person than me. So you got to understand your strengths and weaknesses, and you got to figure out what is working, what will work for you, and what won't work for you. Because we different. I gotta know who I am as a person, and then once I uncover that, then I gotta move according to that realization. You got to uncover who you are as a person, and then once you uncover that, you got to move according to that realization. That's how it goes. Wisdom, and hey, that's my priority: self-preservation and liberation, freedom. Man, we need to be freed out here. We didn't work too hard to build this country, and we own how much of it. So my priority is always liberation. You know what I'm saying? We need to be freedom, liberation, control of our time, things like that. That's what I'm after. That's my priority. Oh yeah, better future. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm telling you, it's crazy. It's crazy the work you got to put in. Like when you striving to stay righteous, you striving to present information, you striving to uplift Black people. How hard you got to work to be semi-noticed. You know what I'm saying? And you look at other people, and it's like that's what they talking about. And they 100,000, 200,000, 400,000, 500,000. Ain't talking about nothing. Ain't talking about anything. You like, wow, that's crazy. And you know you didn't put out more substantial content than a person, but you know how the algorithms work. So again, we're not slipping. Perfection and progress don't depend on the government at all. Don't depend on the government at all. You know what I'm saying? Not at all. Like that's what that liberation is. Do for self. Like that's the priority. We need to be doing for ourselves so that we can build these schools, so that we can educate the children, so that we can better educate ourselves. That's what it's all about. Doing for self. Do for self. That's always my priority, man. Do for self. That's what we should be prioritizing. We doing for self. We liberating ourselves. We liberating the future generations by liberating ourselves, man. Our health should be a priority, man, so we can live to fight the fight. You know what I'm saying? So we got to prioritize our health, which definitely is not being prioritized by our people. You know what I'm saying? So we got to make sure that health is up. You know what I'm saying? We got to make sure that health is up in order for us to fight for that liberation, to do the work that's required to liberate ourselves, to free ourselves, self-sufficiency and all that good stuff, man. So that's the key. But y'all, man, with that being said, man, I done mashed out, man. I did 2 hours on this thing, man. That's what I wanted to give y'all. I feel like I got all my points across that I needed to get across. Just wanted to vent a little bit, man. I'm gonna definitely try to tap back in with y'all tomorrow. So I'm gonna leave some things for tomorrow, man. I still got a lot more to say. Always got things to say revolving around this subject matter, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and tap out for the day, man. I appreciate the donations, all the comments, all the questions, all that good stuff, man. Y'all be easy. Y'all enjoy the rest of this Monday. We finna have a powerful November, man. A powerful week. Y'all be easy out here, man. I'm out. Peace.